Awesome, great bumpy music, and yeah. So let's dive right into is it in the Bible? So the one I had last week, or 2 weeks ago actually now, because last week
Right.
was Thanksgiving, was
Happy Thanksgiving,
yeah,
everybody.
yeah, yeah. So it
Hope
was
everybody had great Thanksgiving.
my gosh, I ate so much, it was awesome. But anyway, the question was haste makes waste. Is that in the Bible? And even though we had a lot of viewers, we didn't have any comments this time, which I'm kind of surprised
Oh,
by. But
they're busy eating turkey.
yeah, probably so. But the answer to the haste makes waste, no, it's not in the Bible. It's good wisdom, but it is not. It's not in the Bible.
Good to do, not necessarily in the Bible at all.
Yeah.
Well, what about mine? Is Saint Peter waiting for you at the pearly gates after you die? I would no, that's not in the Bible at all.
Right.
And there's people that have died and come back. Don't report Saint Peter waiting for you at the pearly gates, but they do tell that it's a very peaceful experience, very enlightening experience, and not necessarily the thing that they want to do again because they've been brought back to life. Well,
Right. And it kind of makes me wonder if it's because of all the St. Peter jokes that have been told through the years that people are starting to believe it. Because I have heard a great many funny jokes about
right.
about that exact subject.
And I just said it's an experience that they probably don't want to repeat again, but if it's a peaceful experience and you're passing from this life to the next, it's probably a very peaceful experience that the young lady across the hall, one of my audience members says she would like to do that again. So I retract my statement. That's something that you necessarily don't want to do again. I'm sure crossing over is a nice, peaceful experience.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take that away from anybody.
Right. All right. Well, would you like to go ahead and introduce the next chapter we're in?
Next chapter we're still in Genesis. I'm reading from the English Standard Version, and I know we have the Bible in front of everybody, but I'm reading from mine.
Yeah.
Genesis chapter 4. Now Adam knew his wife Eve, and she conceived and bore Cain, saying, I have gotten a man with the help of the Lord. And again she bore his brother Abel. Now Abel was a keeper of sheep, and Cain a worker of the ground. And in the course of time, Cain brought to the Lord an offering of fruit in the ground. And we're on 4:4. And Abel also brought the firstborn of his flock and the fat portions. And the Lord had regard to Abel for his offering, but for Cain his offering has no regard. So Cain was very angry, and his face fell. The Lord said to Cain, why are you angry? Why is your face fallen? Why do you do well will not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin is crouching at the door. It's a desire for you, but you must rule over it. And that ends 4:4. There's more. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Cain spoke to Abel and his brother, and they were in the field. Cain rose up against his brother and killed him. Then the Lord said to Cain, where's your brother? He said, I do not know. He said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? And the Lord said, what have you done? The voice of your brother's blood is crying to you from the ground, and now you are cursed from the ground, and has opened his mouth to receive his brother's blood from your hand. And you work the ground, it shall no longer yield its strength, you shall be fatigued and water the earth. Cain said to the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, I have driven me away from the ground, and from your face I shall be hidden. I shall be a fugitive and wander on earth. Whoever finds me will kill me. The Lord said to him, not so. If anybody kills Cain, the vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord put a mark on Cain, lest any who found him should attack him. Then Cain went away in the presence of the Lord and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden.
All right. Let's talk about all that we read right there. In fact, do you have anything that you want to point out?
Well, during the murder, let's back up. When Adam and Eve was in the garden, They were cast out and said, "You have to work from the ground and you have to toil, and this is your punishment, if you will, for eating at the tree. The land is going to bear fruits and vegetables. You eat them. It's going to be hard. Now it's going to be even harder because the murder just took place." That's what I got from that. What do you have?
Well, yeah, I just kind of like to point out that I mean, look at now again, Cain was wrong. He looking back, he knew he was wrong. But from his point of view, what did he have left? There, there literally was nothing left at that point. Which is just, I mean, if you think about it, could you imagine life without God? I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to go there. So yeah, it's a harsh punishment, and so I think if he's like, look, my punishment is greater than I can bear. You banning me from the land in your presence. Whoever finds me is going to kill me. Well, who's out there that's going to find him? He's the eldest son of Adam and Eve.
Right?
So is it one of his brothers, sister gonna kill him, or is there? Again, I'm bringing out ideas here. I'm not saying this is. I'm just bringing stuff out. Or are there fallen angels already that are already drooling, thinking I'm gonna rip this guy to shreds? Just saying. Don't know that that's what he's talking about. But I'm saying it might be. But I do want to kind of point out something that we had at the very beginning when she conceived and gave birth to Cain, which he says she said, I have acquired a man from Adonai. So she starts off with I've done this. In fact, could you read your version again? How exact words that she said?
What part are we looking at?
The very first verse where it talks about that I have acquired, or
I've gotten a man with the help of the Lord.
I have. This is my doing. So I want to point that particular thing out, especially for later in the chapter. You'll see why. And then let's also point out why was Abel his sacrifice accepted, but why was Cain's not accepted? Would you like to add anything there?
What do you think? I have an idea, but what do you think?
Yeah, so if you look at the difference, look at Abel, okay? What did he sacrifice? Okay, he sacrificed the firstborn of his sheep. Okay, so he's not like, he didn't like have an entire flock. He's got like, it takes time to grow these things. As a season, you're going to have what? If you have some sheep, maybe, let's say he did really well. He had like one ram and maybe 2 ewes or 3 ewes. Okay, that's a lot for the very first. To give the very first one, that's a lot. See what I'm saying?
So his sacrifices were greater than his brothers.
Right, because because he's looking at and he's like, I'm trusting in you, God. I'm trusting that you are going to not only accept this, but replace and do more. But it says, what did Cain bring? Well, Cain, he brought an offering of the produce of the soil. So, would it have been better had he given the entire produce? Everything? Maybe. But it just said that it was affecting. I think in your version, didn't it say some of? some of the produce of the field?
Cain brought to the Lord an offering of fruit of the ground. No, that's he didn't. It doesn't say how much or what it was.
Got it. So I think it's just, I think there's some significant things to study and look at as to Cain and Abel about their offerings. And I think each and every person needs to study that on their own to really get an idea of what it is that the sacrifice that was involved. One had involved, it looks to me, one involved sacrificing to a point where you're trusting in God, and the other one is you're just sacrificing because you can. It's not painful. Does that make sense?
And he was trusting the Lord to, after his let's call it a blood sacrifice, because that's what it was. He was trusting the Lord to bring back or replenish his livestock.
Right.
I'm sacrificing my livestock, knowing that in the future it may come back to me tenfold or a numerous amount of folds, because I have trust in you.
Yeah, and I don't know that there was any reference to determining what is an acceptable sacrifice or what wasn't an acceptable sacrifice that was recorded. So if there is, and somebody knows what that is, please leave a comment in reference to that, because it'd be very helpful. Even if it's later in the Bible, where it brings reference to that would be good. Because that would be something that everybody can help with their study as well. But anyway, so obviously Cain was upset to the point where he blamed Abel and killed him, which never made sense to me. Why would you? What did Abel have to do with it other than he did the right thing and Cain didn't? I mean, why kill him?
Jealousy?
Well, yes, but my point being is that what did Abel have to do? I mean, he didn't really do anything for that except for just be there, which really says a lot about somebody who is jealous and somebody who covets another person, be it anything that they have. And it's something. I guess what I'm saying is, if you're watching this and you're thinking, well, I've been missing out in life. I have, haven't had this. Somebody, and people don't have to work for stuff, and they get stuff, and I get nothing. I've always been crapped on my entire life. Stop right there and think about what you're saying, because you're sounding like Cain, and even God said right there, says, why are you so downcast? Why? If you're doing what is good, shouldn't you hold your head up high? And if you don't do what is good, sin is crouching at your door, and it wants you. Now, here's something I want everybody to hear. But you can rule over it. It's a choice. You can rule over it. And that's the thing that God has said from the very beginning. Okay? Are you going to let sin rule you, or are you going to rule over it and not commit those grievances? But anyway, that's what I want to say about that part. Let me pull this down just a little bit. Is there anything else you wanted to add to that?
No. Let me take a little drink break.
Sure.
I'll be right back.
Sure.
I'll be right back.
All right. So there's before I start the reading again, I want you to notice that where Cain went to when he left the presence of Adonai, he lived in the land of Nod, east of Eden. So remember when Adam was created, God made a garden that was east of where that creation took place.
Correct.
Okay. So now then you have the garden, and then so now Cain went to the other side of the garden. So he is east of the garden, whereas the man that was kicked out went back to where his location was, which is west of the garden. So,
Oh, I didn't know that.
well, it's just, I mean, if you go back to chapter 2, when God made the garden, it was actually east of where He created the man, and then He brought him there, and then kicked him back to that location. And it says right here that when Cain left, that he went to the east of Eden. So, it's kind of interesting that it's the place where all the Hindu and all those religions and stuff are, which is really interesting. Okay, so Cain had sexual relationship with his wife. Now, a lot of people are like, well, wait a minute. If he had sexual relations with his wife, that means that other people were already there. His sister. He had sexual relations with his sister, who is now his wife. He conceived, gave birth to man, Enoch, which is in the language for Hebrew. It's pronounced or it's written a little bit different, but it's Enoch. So Cain built a city and named the city after his son, Enoch. Enoch was born Irad, Irad the father, Methuselah, Methuselah. I'd have to go back and look. Let me see what the other names were called. Yeah, so he had Enoch, Irad, Mahulahel, and then Methuselah. And then Methuselah begot Lamech. Now, here's another interesting thing. Okay, so when Lamech was born, so he took himself two wives, named Ada and the other one Zillah. Ada gave birth to Jabal or Javel. He was an ancestor of those who lived in tents and had cattle. His brother's name was, it's pronounced Juval, and he was the ancestor of all who play the lyre and the flute. This is where we get the Jubal project from, by the way, Jubal. Zillah gave birth to Jubal Cain, who forged all kinds of tools from brass and iron, and sister Tuval Cain was Nama. And Lamech said to his wives, Ada, Zillah, listen to me, wives of Lamech, hear what I say. Now here's what I'm kind of pointing out. Before, God is the one who's saying things. He's the one who told everyone about Cain and put a mark on Cain,
Right.
and said, this is the deal. So now Lamech is coming and saying, here's the deal. So basically, he's placing himself in the authority of God. He says, I killed a man for wounding me, a young man who injured me. So if Cain will be avenged sevenfold, then for me, it's 70 sevenfold. What? When did you get authority? You never had it, never will.
Never will. That's correct.
So, yeah. So again, it's one of those things where it's the I, it's the pride of, look at what I did, look what I can do, look what I can say, type of deal. That's just I just wanted to point that part out because of now this next thing. So Adam again had sexual relations with his wife. She gave birth to a son, and she named him Seth. And look at the difference. For God has granted me another seed in the place. Okay, so it's not, look what I did. God has granted this.
Can you move that up a little bit so people can?
Yeah. Okay, so God has granted me another seed. God has granted. Okay. To replace Abel, since Cain had killed him. And so to Seth, too, was born a son who he called Enosh. And that's when people began to call on the name of Adonai.
How many generations did it take, you think,
For what?
for people to call on the name of God?
Well, this is already, it's talking about right here. So you got Adam, and then it was what, his third son was now when So that's the second generation. So then Enosh, that's the third generation. So that's when they started calling on the name of the Lord. So, which is really interesting because I would assume that Adam still had a relationship with God and probably talked to him frequently.
Right.
Obviously before it was daily, but maybe not daily anymore at this point. But frequently, I would assume frequently, which is kind of mind blowing in a sense.
Yeah. Wonder why it took 3 generations to get connected back to the God.
Well, I'm almost wondering if people began to call on the name of Adonai because Adonai wasn't coming around so much anymore. So now they're praying to God instead of directly talking with God. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
It most definitely does.
I'm kind of thinking that was kind of what was going on, and to me that would make a little sense. But again, somebody else has some insight to that, please leave a comment. Help us out here.
Oh yes, I was about to say the same thing. Any people watching this, listening to this, wherever you are, what's your thought on that? Why did it take them a generation to 3 to actually call the name of God? Let's hear what you have to say.
Yeah. All right. So let's move into
Drum roll, drum roll.
Is it
We
in
have
the
an official
Bible?
drum roll. We have an official drum roll person.
That's right.
We need to hire somebody.
All right. So what do you got for us this week?
What I have for us this week is an eye for an eye.
Ooh, good one.
So if somebody does something wrong to you, you get to do exactly the same thing back to them. That's that's exactly what that means. So is that in the Bible? And if it is in the Bible, where is it? Where is it in the Bible?
Got it. And mine actually has to do a little bit with, let's see here. My punishment is too great. Actually, I want to click it down here. My punishment is too great. Whoever finds me will kill me. So, remember I had mentioned that, is he worried about other people or is he worried about other powers, other entities? So, my question is, for those other entities, are they prowling around looking for people to devour? So, is it in the Bible that it says to be careful? There are things out there looking to devour you.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
and it can be a variation of that, but yeah. But that's it. That's the one.
I like it.
Yeah.
Let's see if that's in the Bible.
Yeah, and then where is it at? And yeah, I guess that's good enough. Where is it at? Is it in the Bible? All right. You got anything else?
I do not. I had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Had a homemade pecan pie, homemade pumpkin pie, a fantastic dinner, and my favorite person in the world is making some fresh made rolls right now.
Oh, that sounds great. Yeah. So during this past week, when my kids were here, I had my youngest was making bacon. My middle child was making homemade rolls, biscuits
Oh.
specifically, and then I was teaching my eldest how to make eggs. So these are all new things that they didn't do. They really appreciated it because when they got back and saw Mama again, that's what they were talking about. Hey, I learned how to do this. I learned how to do that, and then I was like, "That's good. That's good. Made me feel good." So anyway,
Learn how to make stuff.
learn how. Yep, that's it. Learn how to make stuff.
That's a good thing to do.
All right. We all have a great week, and please leave those comments. That'll be awesome. We'll talk to you later.
Bye, everybody.